All right. Hey, viewers, listeners,
Hey.
what are we doing this week?
Hello, listeners. My name is Charles Scott Sr. This is Charles Scott Jr.
And I'm going to say, hey, viewers, how you doing? Because you can see me. Remember, go back and look at all these other episodes we got online. Go on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Or if you catch it on TV also.
Yes, we have a lot of issues that you can look at. Like he said, on YouTube, we're like, Instagram? We're on all of them.
I'll say mostly Facebook. It's a long episode, but
Facebook.
check out our clips.
Check out all of our clips and see our telephone number down there in case you have to give us a call. But we come to you every week in the comfort of your home, or if you're going back and looking at some previous episodes, we talk about real estate, we talk about some of the community events, things that are happening in the real estate industry, and things that basically can enrich your life if you're looking to purchase or sell a house. Or in other words, if we don't know where to give you the answer, we have people that we can refer you to that can possibly help you.
Exactly. I mean, last episode we kind of ended off talking about the probate and everything. That was great. And look out for the episode. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have an expert come here and answer some questions, some of the most sought after questions that people may not know or may know.
Right. I think that's going to be a good episode
Be a
because
great episode.
a lot of things that are happening. People are all getting older. We're all getting older. And a lot of things are happening with families. You have children that are looking to inherit properties, and you have a lot of people that have estate problems or questions that they want answered. And, with the older people, they seem to keep everything close. They don't give you too much information, and you don't find out until after a person gets sick or if a person passes away, unfortunately, and then all of a sudden all hell breaks loose because you're trying to figure out what to do and who to talk to and looking for paperwork. And, it can become easy or it can become a nightmare.
Yeah, that's why we encourage people, maybe in a couple weeks when we have the episode, to sit down with the family, maybe that person that may be kind of stubborn to listen, and have them listen to us, because we'll give you the real deal. What happens when you don't prepare, and what happens. I mean, like I said, someone told me last year, and I said, that's a perfect quote. I'm going to steal it from them. Whether you don't have a will or have a plan, the state has a plan for you. They have a will for you, because they're going to have a priority what to do with, when you go into probate.
That's it. One of the things that we talked about, my son and I, we talked about earlier today is, where interest rates are headed. One of the things that's happened recently is the interest rates have come down a little bit. But like I tell everybody, everybody I run into, they say, oh, business must be good, interest rates are down. And like I explained to them, well, it's got to go down a whole lot more for business to sort of ramp up based upon the interest rates, because at a quarter of a point interest rate on a $300,000 or $400,000 house, you're only saving about $40-50.
Yeah, it's got to go down for at least, I'll say it right this, where we're at now, 6%. I want to see interest rates in the mid fives, if not low fives, come March. That'll be a great, improvement in this market, I would say.
That would change things. And, one of the big elephants in the room right now is the Federal Reserve is going to possibly go for a big change probably within the next 6 months or so, when the head of the Federal Reserve May, so 5-6 months, 7 months from now, there may be some changes. The interest rates may go down a lot. But one of the things that happens is when the interest rates go down a lot, the prices shoot up a lot.
Yeah, I would say don't let the interest rate dictate whether or not when you're going to buy a house, if you can buy a house now. If you can buy a house now, I tell people, and they say, well, you're an agent. I'm going to tell you from just knowing, get in when you can, because that unpredictability may hurt or it may benefit you. But why take that risk if you know what you're going to get into now? At least when that time comes, you can pivot. Maybe at that time comes, you can say, hey, I'm glad I bought, or maybe I should have waited, but at least you would be in the house. Because one thing I can guarantee is the rent will be up by next year at this time, I would say.
Well, the other thing, you got to look at is that the interest rates, if they go down a lot, they will benefit present homeowners because they'll refinance. That doesn't mean that they'll sell at a discount. That just means that they'll refinance and probably pay a lower mortgage every month, or pull some cash out of their houses and help pay off some of their bills, pay off some of their debt. So it won't affect the buyer that much. So you got to get in where you can. Right now is a good time for you to get in if you can afford to, because what makes a difference? If you're paying a high rent right now and buying is going to be even better for you at the same say, same payment or less, then now's a good time for you to jump out there and start buying some real
Plus,
estate.
remember, when you're paying rent, you're paying 100% interest rate. You're not getting any of that savings or any of that equity you're building. You know, I'd rather build equity at a 10% interest rate than equity at no rate. You know what I mean?
What
Definitely.
I would suggest the people do, you know, like right now, if I was, you know, looking to either put my house on the market or if I'm just, you know, standing still, not doing anything, I'd be making improvements to my house. I'd be, you know, out there changing some designs, maybe adding another bedroom if I could.
Well, step back. You're thinking about your point of view. First, he will call Charles Scott Jr. to come over and do a CMA, because we will come over, come inside the house and look around, tell you what improvements to do. Because remember, not all improvements are good improvements. You may look at your driveway, say, I should get that paved. Don't touch the driveway. There's better things we can look at, cheaper things we can look at in the house that'll add a lot more value.
Well, that's true. So the first thing to do is to get a plan. Decide what's going to be most cost effective for you. Everybody's different.
Yes.
Everybody's got a different situation, which is another thing where you can't really go on what your neighbor did or what your cousin told you.
Don't do that, because you never know. We ask that a lot when we go to people's house. Oh, they say, my neighbor sold for this. Well, when did your neighbor sell it? Oh, 3 months ago. I look at the different data there. You know, we're in a different market now. We got to prepare for what your house is going to sell for.
And I'm sure, like a lot of people out there, just like even I get them, you're getting swamped with letters in the mail where people are looking, no, we can buy your house for cash. This is what we will give you for your house, you know, based upon normal conditions. There's always some small print with,
I was going to say that.
with a
Turn
disclaimer.
around, or those fake checks in the mail. Look at the bottom of it. It says subject to, what is it? They still got to look at the house. It's not going to be a final number. They'll change that number drastically, if not all.
Yeah, so a lot of people out there, you're all getting the letters in the mail. And, you know, so when you get those letters in the mail, number one, you got to realize that's a national mailer. People send those out by the thousands. There's a company that sends some to Connecticut, sends some to Maryland, sends some to DC, send them to Virginia, and they base it on a general price. And usually the letter and the check is more than what the house is worth. They say they want to entice you and get your mouth watering.
And even the ones that look handwritten, remember, look at the bottom. There's usually a fine print too. But before you read any of these letters, give us a call, because we'll give you an accurate CMA letting you know what the house could be selling for in this market. Remember, all those letters are trying to get to you before you put it on the market, because they know if you put the house on the market, you're going to get top dollar, especially working with us.
Right.
Because it's going to be exposed to the entire, I'll say, the United States. It's going to be on Zillow. You're going to get the most exposure. You're going to be on the MLS. Versus these guys, what they're trying to do is get you before you put it on the market.
You know, the bottom line, though, is just to call us so we can come out, give you an idea of what that house is, you know, worth. And when we keep saying CMA, that's a competitive market analysis where, you know, we give you the facts. You know, sometimes people tell me, well, I heard that this person sold up the street for so-and-so. I heard this, I heard that. When we come out, we lay it out. We show you the facts. This is the houses. This is how many days it was on the market. This is what it had. This is how many bedrooms there
And
were.
guess what? We're coming with pictures. Have you seen that house up the street your neighbor sold? Let's look inside. Oh, wow. Granite countertops, stainless steel appliances. They have jacuzzi tubs. Now, let's look at your house. What can we compare there? There may be some things we can improve, or maybe things that we won't. But you'll see why their house sold for that much.
And it's only natural that everybody wants the most. But, you know, where you just said before, we come in and give you some ideas. Maybe that house that you saw that was sold had a lot of different things than your house. Maybe
Yes.
it had the granite countertops. Maybe it had this and had that. So we may say, okay, maybe you can do that too. And this is what it might cost you to do that. Or maybe in some cases you can just remodel, do a little painting or change a little bit without putting a ton of money in there and still getting the top dollar for your house.
Exactly. And those who are, are facing, I'll say hardships with money, sometimes we can sell the house as is. We let them know up front, as is. We're not repairing anything. And you'll be surprised what price you'll get for the house. Even with, like, what did we say last week? I was working with a house where the furnace was not working, and I was still able to sell it. But remember, I'm telling you this now, in November 2025, don't call me next year and say, can we sell the house without a furnace? Things may be different.
When you say like as is, you have to remember this out there, that when you're selling something, what makes the price go up is exposure. The more people that you have interested in something, the more money you can charge. It's called supply and demand. If you, like, you know, sometimes we look and we see what they call a FSBO. This is a person
For sale by owner.
that's going to sell the house himself. I'm not going to put it on the real estate market. I'm just going to sell it myself. Now, usually that person has no idea what the value of the property is because they don't have access to all of the information. Like my son just said, that person doesn't know what the inside of the house looks like. They don't know how many days it was on the market or what the taxes, all of the information that gives it the value. So what happens is that when we go out and we show you the market value, we take all of these things into consideration. And this is what gives you the value of the property, which makes it worth more. The other thing is we give it exposure. Like I said, supply and demand.
Exactly.
The more people that see that house, you might have someone all the way over in California that's relocating to this area and they need somewhere to stay, or someone coming in from New York where they're paying a tremendous amount of rent. So they're willing to pay more than the guy up the street who wants to buy your house and feels as though it's not worth a lot of money because he may say, oh, I know John over there. I remember when he bought that house. He only paid $100,000 for it. I'll give him $150,000.
Yeah,
the guy from New
exactly.
York may say, I'll give you $300,000.
Yeah, and remember, when doing that, you want to make sure you have the right team around you. Like I said, me and my father, we come to your house. Not only do we do a CMA, if you decide to sell with us, we're going to do a video tour. We're going to expose it to our network of buyers, and we're with a lot of investors. So it's a highly good chance we're going to get that house sold at the exact dollar you want.
Right. Well, you know, it's like I just said, it's not only the exposure that you have when you're putting the house out there, but also the exposure of the house itself. When we do the video will show all of the angles of the property.
Yes.
The bedroom, the bathroom, the flooring, the lighting. Sometimes, depending upon the property, we could do a drone shot.
Yep, we've done that before.
Take the drone shows the neighborhood, the square footage of the property. Then we also can include whatever amenities are around the area. You know, as you get older, you worry about health care. Is there any hospitals nearby in case something happens?
Yes.
You know, you want to know, is there any exercise gyms around? If you have children, well, where's the daycare
school
center?
district?
Where's the school district? You know, if you're looking to buy a condo, you may say, well, okay, does it have a garage? Does it have parking? You know, where can I put my car? So these are different
Exactly.
things that you're looking for. You know, if you drive back and forth to work, you may say, well, what's the access to the
Highways,
Merritt
access.
Parkway, Interstate 95? You know, so all of these things are, you know, you don't, you know, buy the house and then start looking for things when you could easily do your homework, or as the real estate, you tell us what you're looking for. And we research and we look for the type of property that can fit your lifestyle.
And that's what we do when we come ourselves. We cater to, you know, the house to fit whatever demographic it does. For example, we sold a house, I'll say, last year at this time near the hospital. We got a lot of calls from investors that want to buy that house and turn it into some type of rooming house for the nurses. So that was our angle with the house. We put that in the description also. So you got to make sure whoever sells your house knows who they can target to get a good, quick sale also.
Yeah, you just said something there. Value can be determined by what the person is using the property for.
Yes.
You know, you might get an investor that may want to buy your house and turn it into a situation for visiting nurses near a hospital. You know, you got hospitals in the area in which we work. So, you know, when COVID was going heavy, there was a lot of demand for properties to visit the nurses because the hospitals were sharing, like, the nurses and the people that come down and do the operations or specialized care. They didn't want a person just sitting around waiting for a patient. So you might get several hospitals share that one nurse. And so that nurse may come into the area for 6 months and then go to another area. So they're looking for short-term rentals near the hospital. And that would be a situation where you could buy a building and rent it out just to visiting nurses that are coming in. So every
Exactly.
building could have a different need. You may want a building near a college. You know, you have students.
I get that a lot. I actually sold a house the other day to a couple, but previous people that owned it used it for, I'll say, Sacred Heart students, and they made a lot of profits renting out each room. So remember, when you look at your house, not only do we do a CMA, we look at what's in the area of your house, what hospitals, what schools are. Because if I find that your house is near a school, especially a university, I have a list of buyers that specialize in buying houses for renting out to students. So that's another advantage you have working with me and my father.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The property's value can be based upon, and what we can be creative in thinking up what possible people would want to pay the most for that situation.
And that's something you're not going to find on Zestimates, on
Right.
Zillow.
Zillow's not going to tell you
Because
that.
Zillow may not know the local investment area. You know what I mean? They know the algorithm, what sold, what sold, what sold, not the reason it sold. We can give you that reason.
Take, for example, in the city of Bridgeport. In the past, there's been very little room for hotels, motels.
Yep.
So a lot of people, we have the what is it? The arena. We've got the total mortgage arena. We've got the different places.
Oh, yeah.
But
There's
when
a lot
people
of-
come to visit,
They have nowhere to sleep over.
where are they going to stay? So a lot of people can buy a property, create it into a bed and breakfast.
Yeah, we see a lot of people buying those and turning them into Airbnbs.
Airbnb.
Especially the ones closer to the amphitheaters.
Close to a recreational center. So there's different creative ways that we can create to show investors or show you how you can maximize the amount of money for your real estate investment. It's just like anything else. You put money in the bank, you want to know how you can get the most money. You want to put it in a checking account, a savings account, a CD, whatever. If you got the money, then it's just a matter of where you put it. If you got property, it's a matter of what you do with that
That's what you
property
do with it.
to make more money from that property. We'll be able to point that out to you.
I also want to say not just my sellers, but my buyers too. Those who are looking for specific types of houses, whether it be, first go to the bank and get a pre-qualification. That's what I always say. People will call me up and say, okay, I want a multifamily. Well, are you pre-approved for a multifamily? They said, no, a single family. Well, we can't work on the multifamily until you get a pre-approved. Yeah, remember that pre-approval is going to say what type of property you're going to be looking for. I've had people work with 2 different pre-approvals. They get pre-approved for multifamily, pre-approved for single family, and we go back and forth depending on what we find out there.
Well, when you're talking about multifamilies, here's another situation. Look at this scenario. I have an investor who recently wants to buy a single-family house. He's looking to invest in the property to make money. So in this particular case, the property that was identified was a property with a vacant lot next door. So you're buying it as a package deal. You're buying the house, and the house comes with the lot next door. So the scenario is you buy the house. Now, after you buy the house, you've got the lot next door, which is separate from the house but comes with the whole package deal. You turn around, you build a new house on the vacant lot. You sell the house that you build, which actually pays for the house you bought and gives you
Exactly.
profit for the new house that you built. So you basically were creative in taking that house and that lot and turning the lot into a new house by building a new house on it and then selling both of them, and you maximized and you doubled or tripled the amount of money that you put into the whole deal.
Yes.
It's simple. It's just simple math, but it's something where usually the average person cannot identify that property. Where we do the research and we can look and say, hey, this is house here. We have a buyer that can do that. Or look at it the other way. You may have a seller who's got a house and got a lot next door and doesn't really realize the true value of what they can sell both combined together. They're only thinking of the house, not thinking about, well, the lot is worth a lot of money too. This is where we come in. We do an evaluation and we show you like, oh, you were thinking about selling the house for $300,000 with the land, But now you got the land, maybe the land is worth another 150, 125,000, so the whole deal is worth over $400,000.
People don't realize, those of you who have vacant plots of lands next to your house, give us a call, because a lot of people come across that and they don't realize that possibly we could partial split that, sell that by itself. We have investors looking for that specifically, that type of land, especially in Bridgeport.
Yeah, you just said something very important there. A lot of people have a house and they have a land next door, and guess what? They may get tired of cutting the grass. They're like, oh, this
Or
land
paying the
over there,
taxes on
I'm
it.
paying taxes on this land. They may have 2 or 3 cars that broke down that they got on the land, and it's just sitting there. And to them, it's just a lot of work, not realizing that they could take that piece of land and sell it and still have their house, and sell that piece of land for over $100,000 or more,
I will say,
and still live in their house at the same time.
Bridgeport, I will say, dirt has gotten expensive. Let us know if you have some empty lots out there. We have buyers who are willing to pay. I'll say top price. We'll put it out there for you.
That's right. So, after this segment, go look outside and look out the window. If you got a big empty lot out there, that's money just sitting there.
And if you understand, if you have a lot up, it's easy. Type in your address online, look at Google Maps, and there's a town hall website you can look at for Bridgeport. Or go down to town hall yourself and look at the plot map and say, oh, I do have it. Then you can determine if it's a separated plot or if it's combined to your regular. Or give us a call. We can always
Give us
help
a
you
call.
with
We can look it up. We can research and give you an idea of what, you may not want to sell your house, but you may want to sell the lot. We'll tell you what the lot is worth. We can do a market analysis, not on your house, but on the lot that you have next door to the house.
that. Exactly.
So you see, there's all sorts of variables out there, all sorts of things that you can do, and you can still live in your own house and
Exactly.
maybe take some of that money, fix up your house, which will now make your house even worth more money.
That's what we tell people. Because remember, that empty lot, although attractive, imagine if you were to sell that, fix up your house a little bit. The investor is going to build a nice house there. It's going to be modern, 2025.
To make your house even worth
Your
more.
house worth even more. So in the long run, it works out for you.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win situation for everybody involved.
Exactly.
You sell the lot gets developed, the lot's got a nice, beautiful new house. You still living in your house, and now your house is even worth more money because the developer or whoever it may be built a new house next to your house. So
Exactly.
everybody's happy. And the the city actually gets a little bit more
Yeah,
taxes.
get more taxes now.
Because now the empty lot is converted into so it's everybody, and the buyer gets to buy a new house. So it's the best, in real estate, we call what's the best use of land? What's the highest and best use? If you got a dirty, empty lot out there and it's not being used for anything, that's not the highest and best
That's not
use.
the highest or best use at all.
So, what we're giving you here is creative ways in which you can do things and it doesn't cost you any money.
Exactly.
You're not spending any money, basically it's just being creative and taking something that you already have and turning it into, acres of diamonds, or, it's like you have a commodity there that can be used for your retirement, for your kids' education, to improve the value of your property, and money that you can use for a rainy day. So, give us a call. You see our number there.
I was going to say basically everything that you can't do when it comes to renting, because with renting, you can't borrow against your rent, can you? You can't refinance. You can't get, you get a HELOC. People don't even know what a HELOC may be. That's a home equity line of credit. You can dip into that and you can pull that out and just keep it for a rainy day. You don't have to touch it. But imagine an opportunity comes along. Maybe your car breaks down. You have to buy another car cash. The HELOC, you write a check right to it.
Yeah, you just mentioned something there. HELOC. You just mentioned something right there I want to expound on. So you got the house and you have the land next door to the house. So what's to say you don't do this? The land is just sitting there. So now you could get a HELOC or a line of credit based on your house. You take that money and you build the house next door.
Oh, imagine that.
Now you have the land that's just sitting there. So you get a line of credit on your house. You build a house next door to your house on that empty piece of land. Now you not only have your house, but you got the new house next door, which you can sell for, let's say, $400,000. Now you've got all the best of all the worlds. You could build a 2-family house next door if the zoning will allow it. Now you can maybe, let's say, rent each floor out for $2,000 a month.
Exactly.
So now you got $4,000 a month coming in cash flow in your pocket. You still own your house next door, and you know,
You
you're
got the HELOC payment, which is something that
you're in heaven.
people will be surprised. Like sometimes a HELOC can be used to start a business, and it's going to be different than a credit card. I mean, it's similar to a credit card, but we're tapping the equity of your house. And as far as the interest rate, it may be variable depending on how the bank gives you a deal, but it's very more, I'll say, more responsible than getting a credit card where the interest rate is just going to be very, very high.
Right. And that HELOC is called Home Equity Line of Credit. You have the asset, the bank is giving you money based upon the property that you already have.
Exactly.
And you take it and now you pyramid it into a big wealth pot of money. It's called using other people's money to,
Exactly.
but you have the land. You have the situation. We can point things out like that to you. Give us a call. There's our number there. We
Right
can
there.
come out.
And remember, we pick up. It's not going to be an answering service or receptionist. We actually pick the phone up.
So just want to let you know we've given you some really creative ways that you can multiply your income, multiply the value of your property without you spending any money. So give us a call. There's our telephone number.
Yes.
We'll pick up. We'll give you a call, set up an appointment, and it doesn't cost anything for our services to come
I
out
would say it's
and
free.
evaluate it.
We'll come out there, father and son team. You don't. How often do you see that? Also,
That's right.
but yeah, give us a
40
call.
years in business.
40 years in business.
So until next week, God bless.
Amen.